Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, everyone. Greetings. This is Kim Hui, your host today, coming to you, broadcasting live to you from Los Angeles, from my home. So I know that many of us have been dealing with this lockdown. So I thought, what a beautiful day to come out and to kind of get in touch with nature. So I want to thank you and welcome everyone to this call. And for those of you that are new to the program, allow me to briefly introduce myself. I have spent the last 28 years as an entrepreneur pursuing my dreams. And about a little over 10 years ago, a few of my friends, with the turn of technology and the timing of world economy and global trend, 10 years ago, along with a few friends of mine in my kitchen table, we started a project. We helped build a company from zero to become $1 billion global brand a year. So it was a remarkable journey. And in that 10-year journey, it has taken me to over 50 countries. I had the opportunity of working with entrepreneurs, coaching entrepreneurs, and going on speaking tours around the globe, having the opportunity to experience different culture, different dynamics of life, and witnessing entrepreneur transforming their lives financially. And so the reason and how this call came about, this program came about, the Voices of Change and Hope, how it came about was as we are all dealing with this situation. Um, you know, this Corona scare had impacted me beyond my comprehension. I couldn't comprehend at what's happening. So I went from being scared to being paranoid. And finally, I was stunned at what's happening. And so a little voice came into my head and said, you know what? I think it's time. It's time for us to collectively to come together, to hold space and to be that light. And more importantly, that to come together to help awaken and to activate that voice within. For we are the voices of change and hope. So that is how all that came about. Okay. And so, and as for today's call, I have ever since the special speaker had accepted the invitation, I've had to live with this butterflies for days, especially the last couple of days. For those of you that perhaps you do public speaking or you talk to people, maybe you know how that feels. And so the speaker that we have here today, I had such a special connection, and it was such a special journey that I like to take a moment to kind of talk about a little bit about that journey, how it came about, because I believe that journey in and of itself lies a great lesson, a message for all of us. So I was introduced to this special speaker, to his books and his cassette tapes 28 years ago when I stepped foot in this entrepreneur arena. Okay. And so the very first moment that I listened to his voice, there's something very special about his voice and his words, his message. It spoke to me. It spoke to me and it connected with me in ways that as if the electric circuits were going on. And there's something about him that connected to me very deeply. Now, so for 20 years, he didn't know and I remember in my trying years, I recalled whenever I'm down and out, I would read his books, I would plug in his cassette tapes, and I would mimic and mimic and repeat his quotes. And I would talk like him. And so, I mean, I think I talk like him. And that's how I picked myself back up. So now for the first 20 years of that career, he didn't know he continued to do his work. And he didn't know that his work had made such an impact on me until about 8 years ago when I met him in person. And so the rest is history. I had the blessing, and you can see some of the slides, that I had the blessing of sharing different stages, traveling the world with this special speaker. We had spoke in different parts of the globe. It was a phenomenal ride. And more importantly, that I had the opportunity to get to know him off stage. You know, what I got when I got to know him off stage, what I realized was that outside of the worldly accomplishment and all the titles that he has, to me, what struck me the most, what impressed me the most, is what an incredible, honorable human being he is. He personifies the perfect human spirit. And so with, the thing that impressed me the most is his zest for life. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, please welcome to the big screen an incredible human being, an incredible teacher, the legendary, majestic Mr. Les Brown. Drum roll!
Wow. Hello, how are you? What a great introduction.
Hello. Thank you for coming onto the call with us. Our callers are so excited to see you.
I'm so glad to be here. It's always a treat when great people meet.
I tell you, you have no idea how much you have impacted my life. And I want to thank you again one more time. It's been a while we saw each other, yeah?
Yes, it has been. But we had a great tour. And it was a great experience. And I'm so glad for us to be able to share this time together, particularly in this place in history where we are, because it's a different place altogether. And this is a time that we have to be flexible, versatile, and adaptable. Are you there? Hello? Can you hear me?
They said yes, we can.
So you can hear me. So now I should just communicate with me. Should I just continue to speak, or what is it you would like for me to do? Because I cannot hear you now.
Yes, just to continue to speak.
Continue to speak. I love it. Fantastic. Well, it's such a pleasure to be able to share some time with all of you. And this is a very special time. This is a very special place where we are. We're in uncharted territories. And so I just want to thank my very good friend, my sister from another mother, because at this point in time, her voice and the voices of yours are needed more than ever before, voices of hope. And I want you to think about things that you want to do. And I want you to think about and focus your mind on what does life look like for you after we get through this period where we are. Because where we are right now has not come to stay, it has come to pass. And so as you think about this moment where we are, this new place where we have never been before, globally, there are people that are traumatized. There are people that's in shock. There are people that's seized by fear. I read something that said that the majority of people, when they hear something that they interpret as fearful, they face it and they run. But there's a small number of people that when they are confronted with something that's fearful, they face it and they rise. And that's exactly who you are and the leadership that you have. And so I want to talk to you right now about what do you do when you're in this kind of environment where people are frightened. And I want you to write this down. Be concerned, but don't be consumed. See, a lot of people are consumed by fear. And you as leaders, you as people that's giving people hope, when there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. you want to be concerned and do the things that's necessary to keep yourself, your people, your team out of harm's way. But you don't want to be consumed by fear. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power and of love and of a sound mind. And so as you look at yourself, look at your goals, and we share some things with you that at this place where I am at 75, that I know a thing or two, as the commercial says, because I've seen a thing or two. So I want you to write this down, please. Use this time to re-examine your life. Socrates said the unexamined life isn't worth living. My daughter, Dr. Ona Brown, she said that gaps are from God. This is a time for us to get still, to go within, to re-examine our lives. A friend of mine was going across Europe, and soldiers boarded the train and asked 4 questions. Number 1, who are you? Number 2, why are you here? 3, where are you going? And 4, who's going with you? And so what's most important is that who we are in the midst of crises. Crises, as you know, it means danger, but it also means opportunity. And that's the opportunity to discover a part of yourself that you don't know right now. And so this is the time that you place your emphasis on building yourself from the inside out, to fortify your faith, to boost your confidence. A lot of people are having a meltdown, but it's the difference between being broken and being bent. And as you look at yourself, we're taking a hit right now. And the book of life says, think it not strange that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might. You will have tribulations. I like what Forrest Gump said. He said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. But we've all been in situations that it was the first time that we'd ever experienced that. 27 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. And the doctor told me, Dr. Alfred Golston, he said, Mr. Brown, you have cancer. And it's metastasized to 7 areas of your body. And I smiled. He said, why are you smiling? I said, 7 is my lucky number. I said, I was born February the 17th. I said, I'm one of 7 children, and I love 7. That's my lucky number. He looked at his assistant and said, this is a strange one here. And I said, and what else? He said, well, it's metastasized to your spine, your T1, your T2, and your T3 vertebrae. And I was still smiling. I said, well, can you give me a second opinion? He said, yes, and you're ugly too. I said, no, you didn't go there. He said, yes. And then he said, but you got this. You got this. We, as doctors, we determine the diagnosis, but you and God determines the prognosis. You got this. And that was a very strategic move by him, because how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. And so our minds now are being programmed by the media to be focused on fear, where fear consumes you, where energy and focus goes, energy flows. And so this is a time for you to have a mindset, I got this. This has not come to stay. This has come to pass. I got this. It's a mindset that says that you are in charge. And so the most important thing, not only must we examine ourselves and ask ourselves the question, what's important to you at this point in time? What is the meaning and the purpose of your life? It's been said that the 2 most important days in our lives, the day that we're born and the day that we realize why we're born. And as you think about your life and what gives you a sense of happiness and a sense of fulfillment and a sense of meaning and significance, that's very important as you begin to examine yourself. Next thing is, this is the time to retrain your thinking. We're taught As a man thinketh, or a woman thinketh, so is he or she. And as you continue to think, so he remains, so you remain. So this is the time, as you look at your life and look at where you are, that you take this time, this downtime. My son, John Leslie, he's written a book and it's called Maximize Your Downtime. And I said, why do you call it downtime? He said, because that's the time when people engage in doing things that keep them from going up. And a lot of people are not using this downtime right now, looking at a lot of foolishness on the internet and on television that's not allowing them to advance. They're not allowing them to grow mentally and emotionally and spiritually. So you want to maximize your downtime. You want to get still and listen to the still small voice within as where you're going with your life and what you have to do and who is it you have to become and how you can begin to retrain your mind so that you can begin to accomplish the things that you've set out for. Earl Nightingale said, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are.
That's right.
I'll never forget a gentleman who had a dramatic impact on my life, Mr. Leroy Washington. I came in his class and he asked me to do something. I said, sir, I can't do that. I'm looking for my friend MacArthur Stevens. He said, do what I'm asking you to do anyhow. I said, I can't, sir. And all the other students, they started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley's smart. He's DT. And he asked, what is DT? He's the dumb twin. And they all erupted in laughter. And I looked at him and I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. He interrupted the story that I believed about myself. My mother said, sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt you. That's not true. Words can hurt, and very deeply, and they did. But what he did was, he was a communicator, and he taught me some things. And what he said, number one, is develop your mind. Because once you develop your mind, you develop mental resolve, then what it does is it allows you to handle the hits of life. Socrates said, you either in a problem or just left one or headed toward one. Viktor Frankl said, life is full of unavoidable suffering. Things are going to happen to you and the people that you care about. I remember reading a study that said over a year, all of us experience at least 3 personal tragedies or someone who we care about. And so it's very important that we fortify our minds. And when things happen to you, Mr. Washington said, don't go around telling everybody. 80% don't care and 20% glad as you. So it's very important that you take the time every day. When I get up in the morning, I wake up and I said, all things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. And I meditate and I give thanks. I write down 7 things that I'm grateful for. I'm encouraging you, when you first get up in the morning, when you open your eyes, a friend of mine named Orrin Hudson, and he teach kids how to become strategic thinkers. And every time I ask him, how you doing, Orrin? He say, the best day of my life. And I knew he was going through some things. And I wondered, how can he say that? And then I realized, when you open your eyes in the morning and there's not a chalk outline around your body, you've got a pulse, it's the best day of your life. If you don't believe it, try missing one. Okay.
Hearing these words, Les.
Huh?
I love hearing these stories and these words. For 28 years, I've heard you talk about stories like that.
Thank you. Yes. Well, one of the things is I'm training speakers now, and I teach people, you never make a point without a story, and you never tell a story without a point. What gave me an advantage in the speaking industry and how I was able to break through was because it was a good old boys network. There was nobody in the industry that looked like me. And what I noticed was that they were just providing information from the book, Think and Grow Rich. Well, if information can change people, everybody will be skinny, rich, and happy. What I brought was a human face. I talk about my mother. I talk about my beginning, born in an abandoned building on a floor with a twin brother, being adopted, being first a foster kid and then adopted, and saying to an audience, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. I talk to you right now from a place that I'm here because of two women. One gave me life. The other one gave me love. God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. So when you place a face, a human being in the context of your presentation, and all of you are leaders and your communication skills are very important, that what it does is it allows you to speak to the heart. That's information speaks to the mind, and words spoken to the heart has more power. And so when we speak, and as you speak as leaders and impact people from one-on-ones or small groups or large groups, you distract, dispute, and inspire. You distract them from their current story. And through your presentation, you dismantle their current belief system and inspire them to become a pencil in the hand of God, as Mother Teresa would say, and start writing a new chapter with their lives.
Love it. And that's how that's how people, so many millions of people identify with you, because that came from the heart. When I first heard you spoke, and this is not a point I want to bring up, Les, is that I've known, at least the 28 years that I have known you, that I noticed one thing, that you have never stopped, never. And I have a question for you, Les.
Yes.
My question is, what drives you? Why you never stop? You just kept on going. And that spirit, I think that's what all the viewers, all the audiences, I mean, no matter what media said about this and that, I come out here today. I want to touch Mother Earth. I want to hear Les to tell us, what is it that Les, I mean, you've got all the worldly accomplishment, but you never stop. So what is it?
I always wanted to make my mother proud. I remember walking around big, beautiful homes on Miami Beach, and my mother, she was hired as a domestic worker to clean them. And we ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. And we wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she kept. And I used to say, Mama, and she would say, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm gonna buy you a big, beautiful home just like this. And she said, Leslie, you don't have to do that. And I said, I know, but you didn't have to adopt us either. And so I feel like Abraham Lincoln, he said, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. And that drives me, that drives my behavior. I want to live a life that will outlive me. And that's why you do what it is you do. You're living a life that will outlive you. You have motivated and inspired thousands of people around the world because of your vision, because of the choices that you've made, and because of your passion to make a difference in people's lives. That's the kind of leadership that you provide. And Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. When you look at what it is you're doing, not just in the context of business, but what you're doing in your social contribution, the people that you help, that will live on after you are gone, because you're building a legacy. And so we should all have that mindset. You are the messenger, but you are also the message that you bring. Your integrity, your character, and your compassion to want to make a difference in people's lives and bring the greatness out of them.
That is beautiful, Les. You are, of everyone on the planet, and I've listened to a lot of people, but Les, you are the most perfectly articulated motivational speaker that speaks from the heart, the best of the very best. And so my next question, Les, is that now, I don't know if you know, maybe you know, maybe you don't, but you have inspired millions of people one way or another. Perhaps maybe your words, certain words, your message, something about you. So you have inspired as a human being, whatever your circumstances were, you have inspired millions of people around the globe. How does it make you feel?
I'm humbled by it. Before I speak, Kim, I always say, more of thee, less of me. That you and I are given a sacred opportunity to speak into the minds and the hearts and spirits of people. When they're in a dark place, there are people that's your assignment, that's my assignment, that when they hear your voice, they will come out into the light. When they hear your voice, you will give them a vision of themselves beyond their mental conditioning and help them to begin to know that there's hope. When there's hope in the future, there's power in the present. When they hear your voice, Kim, there are people who decide, I can make it. I can make it. I can deal with this.
Absolutely.
Words are very powerful. You know, death and life is in the tongue. And it's interesting that the book of life says death and life is in the tongue as opposed to life and death is in the tongue. Why? Because most people hear words of death. They live in a world where we're told more about our limitations rather than our potential. When I was labeled educable mentally retarded in the 5th grade and put back in the 4th grade and failed again in the 8th grade, I was living within the context of the conversations and the expectations that my environment showed me. There's a movie that I saw called the Truman Story, and there was a character, the star character, his life was real, but the surrounding people, they were just acting. And he discovered it and he wanted to escape. And someone asked the person who put this whole thing together, will he leave? Will he escape? And he said, and I'll never forget it, he said, no, because most people accept the circumstances that they have been given. And so you are a person and people who said yes to this opportunity, yes to this business, yes to building a new life. That there are people who say, I can do better than this, and I'm going to work for it, and I'm hungry to create it.
I'm hungry. Speaking of that, now Les, I know that you'd written a book many years ago. It's called Up Thoughts for Downtime.
Yes.
I would love to see that book published again and updated again because it is such a helpful book.
Thank you very much. Now we'll do that.
Yeah. And also now, Les, one thing that I would love to hear, and I'm sure a lot of people, the audiences and the viewers would like to know, is that you have lived a life and you just recently celebrated your 75th birthday. And I know in just to kind of sum things up, how to live an unstoppable life like you have.
Number one, you have to build mental resolve. You have to work on yourself constantly. Why? Because you're going to fail your way to success.
Oh, I love it. Fail your way to success. Love that.
Yes, you will fail your way to success. When you heard my voice after coming from a meeting where you were rejected for a proposal that you had presented, and then you had an interruption, you heard a voice that said, hey, it spoke to another part of you. And so I think all of us have these moments in life when we hear something or see something or experience something that begin to touch us in a very special way and ignite the greatness within. The title of my book is called, You've Got to Be Hungry, the Greatness Within to Win. And so I believe seriously, Kim, that we are here to do the greater work, that we were chosen for this time, that we were chosen out of 400 million sperm, that you are a masterpiece because you are a piece of the master.
Ooh, that is deep. That is beautiful. You just have a way with words, Les. It's absolutely amazing. And so, Les, speaking of that book, I know that you recently had released an updated version of that You've Got to Be Hungry book, right? I have that book for years by my nightstand. And so I am so excited that you have released that book. And so can you tell us where we can get a copy of your new book?
Yes, they can get it on Amazon. They can go get it on Amazon, and just put in the search engine, You've Got to Be Hungry, as you see there. And
You gotta be hungry. I even try to mimic your accent, Les. Only my accent.
and look, and notice the bite prints on hungry.
Absolutely. I mean, folks, this is the time, like John Leslie talk about, this is to maximize your downtime. This is the time that we feed our minds. So make sure that we're going to put the link, Les, on the chat group so people can click the link and buy that book from Amazon. Now, it's also available in Kindle, right?
Yes, it is.
Beautiful. So, folks, there are so many golden nuggets in that book. And for years, Les, I had that book by my nightstand.
Mm-hmm.
And even my husband bought a copy for himself.
And this is updated, and you are going to be shocked. There are things here. This helps you to get the mindset, the inner power, and the strategies on how to begin to navigate tough times. Robert Schuller said something. He said, tough times never last, but tough people do. And so as we look at ourselves and look at where we are, we want to not just go through this time, but we want to grow through this time. Elsie Robinson said, things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. And here's something, Kim, that I realized when I look back on my life. Somebody asked me, what would you say to the young Les Brown, 21 years old? And I would say to him, when events happen in your life, don't characterize them. It was Shakespeare said that nothing is neither good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. And the reason that I said that, 22 million people in the United States applied for unemployment. When I was fired, I said, oh my God, I thought that was a horrible thing. I thought that was something that happened to me. But Helen Keller said, when one door closes, another door opens.
That's right.
But most of us spend so much time looking at and talking about and complaining about the closed door, we don't see the open door. It's often been said that opportunity knocks on every door. No, I don't believe that. I believe that opportunity stands by silently waiting for you to recognize it. And that's what you did when you came back from San Diego. You were looking for an opportunity. You expanded your vision beyond why you went on that trip. And you began to create something that will impact generations yet unborn. And so as we look at ourselves, I realized, had I not been fired, I would have never became a state representative in Columbus, Ohio, and passed 14 bills my first term. Had I not been fired, I would have never gone back to Miami to take care of my mother. And I bought her a home and took care of her until she was 89 and she made her transition. Had I not been fired, I would have not had a talk show sponsored by King World, and they paid me $5 million. Had I not been fired, I would have not become a transformational speaker and trainer for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald Corporation, and General Electric. I love the line in The Lion King, Simba, you're more than that which you have become. And what you have done, you've created a culture in your organization that remind people every day, you are more than that which you have become. And you're challenging them to raise the bar on themselves, to reinvent themselves, to die to who they have been, to give birth to who they are to become. That's a wonderful thing.
That's beautiful, Les. And, a lot of the viewers didn't hear the story of that time when I was driving to San Francisco. How I was rejected and how I was fighting. I couldn't wait to pluck your cassette tape. Can you imagine? Still cassette tape. I plucked the cassette tape in that audio system. It says, you've got to be hungry. And I said, Les, I am famished. And so, I played and rewind and played to a point where my car ate up your tape. So, Les, you are a legend. Unquestionably the most inspirational person on the planet for me.
Thank you.
And truly I have the blessing to get to know you on stage and off stage. And I love the off stage time with you for your wisdom and for one thing that I always remember, Les, is, and that struck me, is who Les Brown is. He is the same humble man on stage and off stage. So with that, I just want to thank you one more time for being who you are and
Thank
for your continual work for humanity. And
thank
so
you so much.
thank you. And I want to thank you for your time and for being on this call, because in times like this, Les, to have someone like you just and you know, just be here with us. May God continue to bless you in good health, in great spirits, and for all the work that you have done for us and continue to do for mankind. So I want to thank you very much again, Les, for spending time with us.
Thank you so much for your friendship. Thank you for your contribution. And thank you for helping people to live their dreams rather than their fears. And I just want to say to everyone, you have something special. You have greatness in you. We are here to do the greater work. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you, Les. What a legend. And for those of you that have not gotten your book, and I ordered my book, Les. I know you sent me a copy digitally, but I ordered mine. It's coming tomorrow. It will arrive tomorrow.
When you get to the end of that book, you're going to call me and you're going to say, whoa, it's different than any book out there. I guarantee you.
I can't wait to get my hands on it. It says it will arrive tomorrow on Sunday, so from Amazon. So beautiful. So
Okay.
thanks again, Les, and for being with us. And I hope to have you again in the future to do more calls with us.
I would love to. I'm here to serve you. It is my pleasure. It's been a plum-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. Give your husband my regards.
Thank you, thank you. And I want to give you a virtue hug. Forget about these corona, virtue hug, okay?
Yes.
So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we just heard from the best of the very best, Mr. Les Brown. And as we wrap up this call, there's a few observations and realizations that I want to share with all the viewers on this call here tonight. Number one is that oftentimes, you know, when we go out there and pursue our dream, do our work, never underestimate your work. When your work is in alignment with your purpose, with your and honoring your purpose in life, honoring your work, never underestimate the impact that it has on other people. Look at Les Brown. I mean, at least only 20, I've known him for 28 years. So he doesn't know me that long, but I've known him 28 years. And he went out there and continued his passion, continued his work. But look at what it has done. It has impacted a girl like me that have changed my life. And so for those of you that I don't care what kind of work you do, I don't care, a contractor, a hairstylist, an architect, a lawyer, whatever. If what you're doing is what you love and you are passionate about it, you never know whose lives you'll be touched. You never know whose lives you will impact. So continue on that mission, continue on that work. Because part of this voices of change and hope came about is really because Les has always instilled this message in my head that we've got to be the voices of hope and change. And so that's point number one. We never know whose lives we're impacting. Okay. So number two is that during this time, it is not gloom time. It is not doom time. For me, this is time to reflect, and this is time to reflect and to change, to look at what doesn't serve us. And it is through times like this that draws the best out of us. It is through times like this that you see many heroes. You see many great teachers, great masters are coming out of this. It is through times like this that gets the best out of human beings. Yes, it interrupted our patterns. Yes, it gave us a pause, but it is time for us to reflect. Like Les had talked about earlier, this is time for us to go within. Look at what doesn't serve you. Whatever doesn't serve you, let it go. Drop it. So, and for I believe this is a time. I mean, this is, to me, this is not gloom time, not doom time, but we are the beacon of hope. We hold the light to what the future of our world is. Our future, depending on the choices that we make and the action that we take. And I think collectively, we can make that change. Collectively, we can make that shift. Do not give into fear. Don't feed the fear. Choose love. Choose hope. Because it is, I think I have a little time, and I want to share this story I read a while ago that really it's like a light bulb that came on. There's it's a Native American story. There's an elder Cherokee, a grandfather. He wanted to teach his grandson lessons about life. So he went in and started telling the story to his grandson. He says, "My son, there is two wolves fighting within me. One wolf is evil. He is greed. He is ego. He is guilt. He is everything that's of evil. There's another wolf that is of hope, love, compassion." So as he went on and telling his grandson about these two wolves, and he said, these two wolves are constantly fighting within me. And he says, the same goes on to you, son. There are two wolves that are fighting within you. Then the grandson thought a little bit. The grandson asked grandpa and said, "Grandfather, so which wolf wins?" The grandfather simply said, "The one that you feed." So in life, either you feed hope or you feed despair. Do not give in to fear. Give in to hope. Feed hope always, always. When challenging time comes, choose hope, choose love. I know it sounds simple. I do it on every aspect of my life. And so this is, sometimes, challenging days, your little fight with your spouse or whatnot, I tell myself, choose hope, choose love, okay? So that's number 2 point. And last but not least, that I want to share with you, and Les Brown had touched upon a little bit about this, that he says, when an old door closes, okay, when the quote unquote norm or our patterns got interrupted, all we have to do is be brave enough, be courageous enough to knock on other doors, to knock on new doors that we have never knocked on before, for new possibilities exist outside of those doors that we have never knocked on before. I'll give you an example. When my parents took 4 kids, left their country, coming to America 41 years ago, 4 kids, ages from 9 to 16. We didn't speak a word of English. My parents, when they landed in America, 6 of us, they had no job in sight, only $2,000 in their pocket. I still remember for an entire month, they went to Safeway, the supermarket, to buy their frozen beef, and that was our meal for 1 month, okay, and some rice. And we were 6 of us were living in a 1-bedroom apartment. And that size of that apartment, maybe it's half of my pool. And that lives 6 of us. And so now I was 14 years old at that time. Now, who would have thought, and I didn't speak any English either. So who would have thought years later that 14-year-old girl turned out to be like this? Having the blessing to enjoy this. Whatever I have, I work hard for. And I remember the pride. My parents instilled the work ethics and the pride in all of us. When we first came here, they refused to go on welfare. They said, we're going to make it and we're going to work hard. And because of that, I've always believed that I'm going to work hard. I'm going to live the American dream. You know what, folks? I don't care what time it is. I've gone through downtime. The reason why I am where I am here today is because I got up. Every time I fall down, I got up. And so, you know what, guys? Don't get succumbed into this fear. Look at this beautiful tree. It's living. It's life. Go out and smell the air. Don't get succumbed to fear. Don't. Trust me. I went through, like I said in the beginning, I went through being scared to paranoid to almost everything. Oh my God, what did I touch? Oh my God, I need a glove. Oh my God. You know what? There for billions of years, there are germs and viruses within all of us. Get over it. And I think this is time. Look, whatever it is. I mean, I'm not talking about go crazy and go hug everyone. No, but just be mindful. Be mindful and question the norm. I get to where I am in life by looking and questioning things. You know, I refuse to accept the normal as normal. Many people laughed at me, ridiculed me, and said, Kim, who do you think you are? You think to be a millionaire? I say, heck yeah, I'm going to be a multimillionaire because I work for it. And so, you know what? People say, you're lucky. Yeah, I'm darn lucky because I work hard. And I tell you what, folks, the hardest work you ever do, that I have ever done, is work on myself, that work within. Just like this call, guys, it wasn't easy. You know, talk about expansion for weeks. For a week or two, I had this butterfly. Oh my God, talking to Les Brown. Oh my God, he's the greatest of the greatest. You know, that butterfly made me grow. It wasn't easy. I went and prepared. I never wrote notes before my whole life talking about stuff. I just talk. But, you know, but this experience stretched me. And that is part of the reasons why I want to come online. In times like this, that is when we come together. In times like this, that's when we expand. In times like this, that's when we evaluate what no longer serves us. Whatever pattern that don't serve you, go change it. You know, tap from within. We have that. And so I do hope, you know, I am not here to rock anybody's world. I am here to rock my world. And if by rocking my world, it helped make a shake in your world, well, welcome to the new shift. And so I do hope that you found this call helpful, especially in times like this, that I think collectively as human beings, we can make it a better reality. We can make a better version of ourselves. So if for those of you that found it helpful, well, you know what? Stay connected to the Facebook. So for the next announcement of the call, maybe on one of these calls that I will talk about my journey and the lessons and how I transformed my life. I went from, 28 years ago being downsized, unemployed, to have and living a dream. I am in the midst of my dream. Forget about this financial stuff. Forget about homes and all that stuff. I am in the midst of my dream. Living, talking to people like Les, talking to people like you. I have the blessing of traveling the world, meeting some of the most wonderful people around the globe. And I can't wait when this thing is over, I can put on my wings and I can travel again. So for those of you that feel helpful, I look forward to you to connect with us again for our next call. And until our next call, stay healthy, be the light that you are. We are a lot more powerful, all of us. A lot more powerful than we realize. So stay healthy, stay strong, and be the light. Until next call, we'll see everyone next time. Hugs to everyone. Virtue hugs. Bye. Have a great day. And we'll see you soon.